Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this new series called Real Estate Moguls. I am your host, Dr. Amy Steele, so thank you for joining me today. I am going to attempt to capture some amazing information and knowledge from experienced real estate agents, brokers, and powerhouses really in the industry. So, thank you for joining us today. I am going to begin by interviewing one of the sweetest and smartest agents I know in the business. And I think it's just so important that we really use our time and take our time to not only do the things that we're doing in life, but really stop and capture some of the relationships that we have to find out what they're doing. And this particular young lady is doing so much. So I want to again thank you for joining Real Estate Moguls, where I take time to talk to a few real estate professionals about their amazing careers. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my first guest for this first episode, and her name is Joslyn Elliott Blackburn. Joslyn is an experienced real estate professional. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey girl, hey.
So Jocelyn is quite just a very disciplined and amazing agent. And not only is she sweet, she's lovely. She has a lovely persona, great character, but she is also a dynamo and a powerhouse. And so we're going to get into it and just talk with her about how she became a real estate mogul and what's next for her and what she's working on. I think again, as a real estate professional, it is so important to harness the skills and harness the everyday activity that realtors are doing and using and exercising as they build their businesses. So without further ado, Jocelyn, what's up, girl?
Hey, and thank you for having me in this inaugural episode and this amazing idea of yours to capture uh, information about people like us who are in the real estate industry.
Yes, and it's so important. You know, people always ask me, how did you, get to this place or that place in your career, and where did you start? And I'm like, really, it was a collection of all the wisdom and knowledge I gained from people like you, and just putting it all together. But then also building my business over time. So we're gonna dive into it, Jocelyn.
Okay.
So tell everybody, your journey, and I really want you to dive into a little bit of your personal story about how you even got to Charlotte, but tell us about your journey into real estate and how you became a mogul or very successful in this industry.
Well, that is very easy for me to tell because they're connected. So, Jocelyn Elliott Blackburn, married to LaDerrick Blackburn, with two children, married 12 years at the time in 2005, daughter in third grade, son is 3 years old. And August 29th, 2005 happens. It was a Monday, and Hurricane Katrina slammed the Gulf Coast of the United States of America. We were homeowners. We had a all brick flat, what we call ranch homes right now. And our house sat underwater for 3 weeks, 8 feet of water. And we were unable to get to our home. And we had evacuated to my husband's hometown, but we still got the brunt of the wind where we were. So we had no electricity where we had evacuated to. So we didn't know the vastness of the devastation of our home, where we lost everything that we had amassed in 12 years of marriage, all of our children's things, two cars, so on and so forth. So 3 weeks later, when we were able to get to our house and handle the business of dealing with that devastation, we found that people who were homeowners were afforded a little more than people who weren't.
Mm,
We were able to get a little more than people who weren't. And that's not just from the government, but that's also from insurance and things like that. So it clicked. It was like, why aren't more of us homeowners? Why are we not understanding that home ownership is not just good for safety, that bottom part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs
right.
regarding safety? but it also is about protection, not just about protection with, having a roof over your head, but protecting your financial interests and your that exactly. So that was in the back of my mind when we ended up moving here to the Charlotte metropolitan area because my sister and her husband had been here uh, 7 years prior to Katrina happening. And so that year during Katrina, we came to this area for Christmas. And I was like, I knew that we were supposed to move here. We were struggling trying to figure out, do we go to Atlanta? Do we go to Dallas? Do we come here? We ended up here. And I wanted to get back into hospital administration, which that's what I was doing in New Orleans, and had become very successful at that. 14 and a half years of that after getting my master's in business, that's what I did and I loved it. But something just wasn't gelling and I wasn't able to get back into that industry at that level. So I went to real estate school because that thing in the back of my head from Hurricane Katrina. And I went to real estate school, passed both of the tests, all of the tests the first time, which I was excited about that, and got into it in 2007. That's my
Okay.
story.
And did you make any money right away when you got into real estate?
I made no money. I was
Okay.
like, what? So how you leading me to do this, God? And and I was used to making money in New
Mhm.
Orleans, like I was at the top of my game. Both
Yeah.
of us, my husband and I, both were at the top of our game. When we moved here, we were busted down to back to entry level stuff. So
Wow.
we had to build our way back
Right.
to, you know, where we were. And now we've surpassed that.
So what I hear you saying is even if you get into real estate and you don't make any money right away, it's not for you to give up necessarily. It's for you to figure out how to make it work.
That's right. That's right. And honestly, Dr. Amy, I did give up. I did
Okay.
quit. And you know that you already know the story. I did stop doing it because and especially at that time, like we were in this bubble
It's
that
a tough
none of
market.
us really knew that we were in until it popped, right? And when you're at a firm or at a place where in that time for me, I was not getting what I needed from the firm that I was at
Hmm.
regarding how to pivot and how to shift and what you need to do in order to make that market work for you.
Hmm.
You don't have to quit. You just got to know how to turn and how to pivot and how to make moves in that shifting market. And that was something that I did not know how to do. So for me, I sat around trying to figure out what to do, and I was paying out all of this money because real estate, you paying quarterly, you paying annually, you doing CE and all of that stuff, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was like, I need to make something in order to spend this money. So I got out of the business. I just stopped doing stuff. I did not formally
Hmm.
get out of the business. I just stopped going to take CE. I just stopped paying the state. I just stopped, doing
Right.
MLS. I just quit. I was
So it's
over
kind
it.
of like you silently quit, right? You just kind of phased out. Yeah. And don't
Exactly.
you notice that a lot of agents, they just kind of phase out? They phase out because they don't do like what you just said. They stop paying their dues, they stop showing up to things, they stop engaging. And then when they all of a sudden get to this point where they're like, wait a minute, this is, I went through a lot to get this license. Should I pick it back up? Should I let it go for real? Then they come to this crossroads where they have to make a decision about how they're
Mhm.
going to move forward. And so it sounds like when you got to your crossroad, you kind of silently left, but then you decided to come back and now you are killing the game. So what was the shift for you?
So during that little lull time, I went to work for a nonprofit organization, and I felt like I was getting back to myself regarding the administrative area that I feel like I'm also gifted in, administration. And uh, at that time, I had been there about 5 years. The CEO was uh, transitioning out and wanted me to take her spot. And so I was preparing to do that. However, there was some blocking that happened with the board of directors. There were a few that um, did not feel like I was prepared or capable of being in that position. So
Mm,
I was kind of hazed a little bit, and I told my husband, I was like, "We're gonna go on Sunday. We're gonna get all my stuff out of that office,
mm,
and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do next because I can't stay here. I'm not gonna be maligned and disrespected when I know my value." And so the following Tuesday, I went to this meeting called Rotary, and I talked to this lady. Her name was Amy Steele. And I talked to her about what was going on. And you said, "Joslyn, what are you doing? You have a license, use it." And I was like, "I know, Amy." And I'm not going to lie, there was some trepidation and some fear because what
mm,
happens when a person fails at something, they don't really want to go back to it because I felt like I had failed. And I
mm,
was used to like just moving in any area of my life. Every area of my life, I was able to, just see myself progressing and moving and succeeding. And real estate was one of those things that I was like, I failed at it. Like, yeah, I mean, I got my license and yeah, I do, but I went to a firm that gave me what I needed. They had
mm,
coaching, they had training, they had all of the things that I needed because I'm a learner. So I'm the type of person where I'm going to go and get the education that I need and the tools that I need so that I can actually do the work. And that is how I began to thrive because I was able to get with a firm that actually backed me, and
mm.
that wasn't there's no real competition, so to speak. It's like, what do you need? I can help you. Oh, you need signs? I'll give you signs. Oh, you need a
Yep.
super lockbox? Oh, I'll give you a super lockbox. Oh, you need to learn how to create a business plan for real estate, which is different from any other type of business plan.
Say
We will
that.
show you how to do that. I got
Mm,
an MBA. I know how to do a business plan. It's not the same that you
mm,
would use for real estate. So it's just things like that I used all of those tools, including the tools that I learned from being a professional in corporate
mm,
with
mhm.
being in medical administration. I used all of that stuff, to help propel me into where I am now.
I love it. I love it. Not only did you just kind of really talk about this intersection of like, I failed, but I know I have value. And the value is in your license. The value is in the fact that you were already prepared for this journey. You just needed to get to a place where you could see yourself doing it and then put yourself or surround yourself by the office that could support you, get yourself around the tools that could support you, and make sure you had what you needed. I often tell new agents to go to a place that they can learn, go to a brokerage where, they can grow and be around people who are doing the business as a professional all the time. Because sometimes you get into the space where you want and you see someone else's business and you think you want that, and you don't know all the background that goes into that. I've been doing
Mhm.
this for 20 years. You've been in real estate for several years. You don't know what it takes to build a business from the background of someone else's experience just by looking at them on Front Street. And so
Right.
it's easy to say, oh, I can do that, or I want to learn from that person. No, you got to surround yourself with the right tools, the right office, the right support system, and the right support network. And what I have
Absolutely.
watched you do, which is why I call you a mogul, is I have watched you not only take real estate by storm, but develop some really key everyday daily practices that you use to build your business. So as we
Mhm.
get through kind of the rest or to the next phase of our talk, I wanted you to talk about like key strategies that have contributed to your success in real estate and really dive into your daily routine, which for those who don't know, we play this game called Cash Flow by Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so we
Mhm.
had Jocelyn and her husband over for cash flow night, game night, and we were just talking and playing the game, and the game is very long. It's like Monopoly on steroids, but I highly recommend everyone buy a copy of Cash Flow and then play it with your family, your friends, and your loved ones. It really helps to teach you and kids and everybody about how to manage money and how to even get into real estate as an
Right.
investor, or whatever. So we were playing Cash Flow, and then you and I sparked a conversation on the side while our husbands were talking, and we just started talking about your daily routine, and it just fascinated me. So
Mhm.
really dive into key strategies and your daily routine around real estate.
Your calendar is everything. If it's not written down on your calendar, it does not exist. Period. So you have to, number one, the first thing that I did when I got back into real estate was work on my mindset.
Mm,
Mindset work is extremely important because, bottom line, a lot of the things that we do, as real estate professionals, one of the major things that we are salespeople.
mhm.
And you're going to have rejection. You're going to have people to not want to work with you. You have to have a strong mindset. And so that's what I start my day off with, mindset work. And
Mm,
that is prayer, meditation, affirmations, speaking to myself, saying how amazing of an agent I am, even when I did not believe I was.
mm,
So that's the first thing that I do every morning, even before my feet hit the floor. I'm in
yeah.
prayer and meditation and speaking well of myself, saying that I know that this is a great day, that I'm going to have a great day. People from the north, south, east, and west are going to call me. They want to work with me. Those are the
Yes.
things that I say to myself. And then I get up, after my prayer time and my meditation time, my devotional time, I work on my body. I get up and I do exercise, whether it's walking on the treadmill, getting on my rebounder, which is my favorite thing to do, which is a miniature trampoline for those of you who don't know what that is. And then I prepare my mind after that, and I get to my office. I choose not to work from home. I have chosen to pay for a space at my firm, and I come to my office every day that I can. But most of the times I do. And I make my phone calls and I do my text messages or my emails or write my notes or whatever it is that I'm tasked to do that day. But all of that is in this thing right here. All of
Mm,
that is in my phone, in my calendar, or in my analog calendar that Amy and I both use as well. So, and I write it down as well because it's you can, for me, writing helps it stick, and I know what I need to be doing.
yeah. So you said a lot. One, keeping yourself organized and getting a calendar. Two, working on your mind. I find that sometimes many people just can't process that they can do anything they told themselves they can do. And then the contrary is true. You can't do everything you just told yourself you can't do. Now you
Right.
can, but you don't, right? And it's probably because the mind told the person that they could not do it. So your actions follow suit. I was
Right.
listening to a coach, and he said, anxiety is really the negative anticipation or the negative desire outcome. So it's focusing all your current energy on a future potential negative outcome. That's where anxiety is created. But if you
Mm-hmm.
use your current energy to focus on a future potential great outcome, then you have anticipation. Your body starts thinking of solutions. Your mind starts moving in a positive direction, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get exactly what you said you wanted. And it's
Right.
amazing how that concept of expectation works. But it's almost like you expect your day to go well, and therefore it usually goes well. Now, that doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
you live in a fantasy land and the world doesn't, throw you a few curveballs.
Right.
But have you handled a few curveballs when they are contrary to your affirmations?
How do I handle them?
Hmm.
You know what? I just roll with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a house that's on the market. It went under contract. I'm in Jamaica trying to negotiate repairs, and the people are just not, they're just not doing, the other side, they just would not cooperate. And so
Hmm.
they ended up, terminating the contract. Well, you know what? You just roll with it. They terminated the contract. It didn't go my way, that was supposed to close this month. I
Hmm.
mean, what do? You focus on what you can control, and you do the things that you know to do, and the rest of it is gonna come. you
That's
know
right.
um Worrying about things, I have found in my life, and I'm over 50. I have
Stop it.
found that worrying does not work. It does not help. It does not help the situation. So what you do is you go back into your arsenal of what it is that you know to do, and you
Mhm.
do those things, and you do them well, and then you just keep going.
That's right. And that's exactly what you have done. And that is why you are successful. Can you talk a little bit about your success or the success that you've experienced? You don't have to get into too many numbers, but what is life like now versus what it was like before you really started to devote your time and attention to real estate, including your awards and just your performance and all of those types of things?
Yeah, so I have received several awards from my firm, the Eagle Award, Cultural Ambassador Award, just making sure that people in our firm know that they can do it. I've also been a teacher in our firm. Amy, that I still teach on a collegiate level,
Mhm.
part time, online. So I still do that with one of our local community colleges, but I've also transitioned into teaching at our firm. So I teach newer agents how to navigate the market and what some of the things that they can do. So those when you teach, you solidify your knowledge.
Mhm.
um, if you're not teaching someone, then that knowledge can be fleeting. So I've purposefully got into teaching some of the things that I want to be doing in my business. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
So that's some of the ways that I've gotten to where I am, because I'm teaching what I want to do,
Oh,
and the things that I where I want to be, I'm teaching it. And that helps me with implementation, because if I'm telling my student to do it, then it's gonna make me, in my mind, how you gonna be how you gonna tell people to do something and you're not doing it?
mhm.
So that has helped. I've recently obtained my Graduate Realtor Institute designation, which is, a lot of realtors in America don't even know that that thing exists,
Mm.
but it is a very prestigious designation. It took me about a year and a half, yeah, a year and a half to complete it. And on the way, I've gotten other designations, which
Yeah.
are negotiations, pricing strategy advisor, buyer representative, seller representative, senior seller representative. So all of those things help me in my value proposition. So when I go and talk with people, when I have
Yep.
appointments with people, I'm able to share with them all of the extra education and training that I've received, that will be able to benefit them, and so that I can help them at a higher level. Um, I have not made less than six figures since I've been back in this job,
Yes,
in
ma'am.
this business. So, I can go as far as saying that, even with the type of firm that I'm at, that there are splits, I still make well
Yes.
over six figures every year. Um, and now things are starting to roll even more because I am involved in the community more. So people in the community know what I'm doing, and they like what they see, and they like, you know, how they find how I operate with, you know, with the folks. And so it is starting to come full circle. The folks that I happened to helped in 2020, they're coming back saying, hey, I think I want to sell, or I think I want to do investment property. I'm working with investors, and I'm becoming an investor myself. So, you know, all of those things have contributed to um, my success, and it just consistently blowing my mind. I'm like, wow, you know, that's amazing. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very humbled um, by the folks that trust me to
Yeah.
help them with their real estate needs.
I love it. That is beautiful, Jocelyn. And that is why you are a person that people need to tap into: your wisdom, your knowledge, and also your willingness to share. So thank you for that. So as we close out, what advice or like top, well, there's so much, but you know, we see this real estate market changing and ever evolving, and agents really have to evolve with the changes and figure out how to pivot. I've pivoted to real estate developing, and you've pivoted in different ways. You know, as we close out, talk a little bit about advice you would give to agents, whether they're new or experienced, about how to build a long lasting career in real estate, how they can pivot, and what are, you know, just what would you say to these agents who are looking for, you know, they may be saying, you know, I don't know what to do next in my business. You know, I'm tired of sales, direct, you know, buyers and sellers with the new regulations, new settlement that happened with the NAR settlement, the National Association of Realtors settlement recently. There have been some changes to how we do business. And so the book Who Moved My Cheese is more prevalent now than ever before. Like it, you
Mhm.
really have to pivot. And it's not even pivoting so far away from center, but it's pivoting enough to make some critical changes. So what advice would you give to agents?
Well, the first thing that you should is to discover why you're in real estate. Why did you choose this profession? Why did you choose this business? How is it going to help your family? How is it going to help your future? What are you trying to build from this? Because real estate for me is a means to an end. I love what I do. However, I'm not going to do this forever. What am I trying to build in order to set up a future for myself? So your big why is extremely important. Why are you doing this? And so I think that once you nail down your why and what the vision is, then you can actually plan. Okay, so if this is my why, what are some of the other, where are the tentacles in real estate? There's so much more than just direct sales. You can get into real estate investing, you can get into flipping, you can get into um, uh, development, you can get into first time home buyers, you can get into, you can just be someone who just sells. You can build a team and become the CEO of a team and let that team just operate while you're in Tahiti somewhere drinking, sipping on your, you know, your sweet tea or whatever it is you like to drink. There are things that you can do in this business that is so vast and so wide. And so I challenge you to research what those things are. Research all the things that you can do in this particular field, and determine what it is that you want to do. Do you want to get into property management? Do you want to get into property managing your own property? Like there's so much that we can do in this field. So when I say pivot, I'm saying look at everything and see what speaks to you
Yeah.
based on your why. And that's going to take some searching, because I had a why and then I accomplished it and I was twiddling my thumbs like, okay, well, what's next? You
Mm,
know, and so I had to really sit with myself and say, what do I really, really want?
yeah.
What do I really want? My children are grown and out of the house. That was my why. So now what? I've
Hmm.
done that part. Now what? I made six figures. Now what? What's next?
Seven,
So
girl.
what?
7.
Seven, yeah, 7 figures, 10 figures, whatever, but the point is why? But even if it's 7 figures, why do you want
Mm,
7 figures? What are you going to
right.
do with it?
That's right.
So that to me is the main thing. Why
Mm,
do you do what you do? And when you have a plan, why is that plan that plan?
right.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's big.
That is big. And I'll tell you, you're right. Money is not everything. It's right up there with oxygen, but it's not everything. And so it is key that you know why you even want your income goal, because some people have so much money, but they don't have the why behind it that allows them to enjoy the money that they have. Yes, it's convenient. Yes, it's amazing, but what is it for? So I appreciate that. That was great.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
Jocelyn,
and let me just say this, I can have a lot of money, but I'll be working myself to the bone and I'm not enjoying it. So like,
that
have you put in your calendar your time off? Have you put
mm,
in your calendar, self-care? Have you put in, so all of those things, that's a part of your why, that's a part of your system, that's a part of your
mm,
routine. So plan out your vacation, plan out your time off, plan out what you're going to do with, that added dollar value that you get. Are you going to build, you know, uh, affordable housing, because that's part of our industry's crisis? Like, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to
mm.
help people? One of the things that we talk about at my firm is, earn a million, give a million.
Ooh,
That's the goal. If I can
right.
earn it, then my next goal is to be able to give it.
Mm,
So, it's really about why you're doing what you're doing. And once you do that, when you see all that's falling around you, you are laser focused on your why. And then
yeah,
when you do that, you're able to make a sound decision as to how you're going to pivot and how you're going to move.
yeah. So true. Love it. Love it. Love it. And we got a couple comments I just want to honor, that people are loving the conversation, and the series, is just going to get better and better. So y'all come back, ensure that, this is something that you are able to tune into, occasionally, once a week, when we do this. But thank you, Jocelyn, so much for everything. Thank you to our team for making this happen today. We really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. So, Jocelyn, thank you for being a real estate mogul. And we have your links here, but please like and follow Jocelyn at Jocelyn Sells Real Estate for Facebook and Instagram. So find her there, support her content, and go out there and make some money. All right. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.